What is up, my subconscious Jedis? Not shitheads, but Jedis. Today is March 23rd, and this is out of order. I'm gonna give you a bad excuse. The power went out right as I was gonna record, but for some reason I just kind of decided I wasn't gonna record last night, I guess it would have been. Not cool, Logan. Come on, this is supposed to be about discipline, and I'm not being very disciplined. But regardless, my dreams were epic, and I wrote them down for like a solid 45 minutes when I woke up. Took up many pages. Girlfriend's on her way over right now, so we're gonna kind of keep it brief. I might just tell you the synopsis. Um, yeah, I remember it really vividly. I didn't become lucid though. At about three different points during this dream, I was about as close to lucidity as you can come. Like I was questioning things, and I'll point those out as I go through. So it starts out, and I'm in a car, and I believe this is like a dream earlier than the main dream I remember, but it was definitely connected. I'm in a car with my best friend, his girlfriend, and this other guy, just this kind of bigger, like, I'm just gonna say fat because that's the way I talk, but don't feel offended. Fatter guy, and he is completely unknown to me, and he is like a huge part of this entire dream. I love generic characters in my dreams that could just be anyone. Like, someone talked to me earlier, and they asked me, have you ever had a dream about a generic girl? And I realize that totally is what we have often, you know, the girl figure that I just don't have a name for. Face isn't clear or anything. It's just kind of girl. That could be her name. Just, hey girl. Wild. So this dream starts off, I'm just gonna put the book down and tell you how I remember it. Starts off in that car with all these people, and we're driving. Everyone's excited. We're clearly going on a trip to like a planned area, like a planned event. And as it turns out, I kind of like fast forward through that. I remember being in like a huge futuristic city. I'm kind of picturing like Star Wars: The Old Republic, the Republic side, if you follow what I'm saying, like things flying in the air and stuff. We were in like fancy elevators. Very strange. I wish I could remember it more clear. Excuse me. So then we're going to something called the Villages in Florida, which is where my best friend's dad's dad, his grandpa, lives, and it's just a retirement home that's up like 100 miles across. It's huge, all old people. And we're going there for a DMT party. I just kind of knew in the back of my head that's why we're going there. So we get there, and it actually doesn't look anything like the villages, but it is like a little cul-de-sac, and each house looks similar like the villages, and there's old people inside. I don't remember seeing his grandpa. In fact, the layout of the house that this takes place in, say we pulled up, we just went inside. The setting is like a vape store in Minneapolis I've been to. It was just a big open room with a small room in the back, so like a small back room and a main room. So we're all hanging out in the main room. There's about 20 or 30 people all of a sudden. Like kids are just coming in waves. They heard what's up and they're about to participate. And if you know anything about DMT, I'll give you a brief synopsis. It's the strongest psychedelic known to man. It's naturally occurring, found in everything pretty much, from plants to your brain to rats' brains. The high lasts about 5 to 15 minutes when it's smoked, as I would normally do if I were to do drugs. And it is insane. I mean, it's not like acid. Mushrooms pale in comparison to LSD, in my opinion, and LSD pale isn't even the right word for how much less it is than DMT. And this only occurs in 5 to 15 minutes. It's very, very different. Do some reading if you're into psychedelics. Expand your mind, but don't abuse it. Like any drug, you can chase the high. That's more of a rant than I want to go on. Everyone's showing up and they hear there's some DMT, so all of a sudden, you know, people are here. There's about 30 people. I'm mingling. I don't remember who I'm mingling with, but my best friend gets a call or something, and I just know that his girlfriend's coming, and his girlfriend was very anti-drug. We've always kept her away from everything. And so he's like, all right, everyone to the back, quick, she's almost here. So there's like 30 people jam-packed in this little rectangular, like, bigger than a closet, but smaller than a room type deal. Maybe like the room I'm in now. You wouldn't fit 30 people here comfortably. So 30 people are fitting here. We're all just like, you know, whispering. It's funny as well. And I think by this time we've actually done the drug, which the delivery method was very different than in real life. In real life, you have to vaporize it, and it's very temperature dependent. You need about 35 milligrams as a breakthrough dose, which is what you're trying to achieve anymore, and you pretty much you're unconscious physically, mentally. You're more than conscious. It's actually very similar to a lucid dream, because your consciousness is still aware of everything going on, but you're kind of being pulled through the journey. You don't decide what happens on a DMT trip, much like any trip. You get the trip you want, not the trip you need, you know, or trip you need, not the trip you want. So as should say. His girlfriend comes, and I think he just ends up telling her, like, yeah, we did this. And oh, I was one step before that. We're all in the room, and I remember chewing on this DMT, and the reason for this, I believe, is I spent a week or two. I was super depressed at the time and abusing weed too much, like more than I would do normally abusing weed. And so my memory was just foggy as hell. I was trying out these new cartridges I shipped in, and they were like stellar. Like, I was a zombie for 2 weeks. I don't even remember when I went to bed, when I woke up. It was wild. It was so fun. I was depressed as hell about a girl. But the fun thing was, is I met this guy who was clearly addicted to meth, and he was rough around the edges, like everywhere down in the bayou. This is way down south in the bayou. And he had this small little orange cube, and it fell out of his pocket, and I was like, what's that? I haven't seen that before, and that's not too often. And he's like, DMT. Now, I know what DMT looks like. It's kind of like a white sand, you could say. Sometimes it's yellow if there's more like plant fats and alkaloids on it. Extracting DMT is actually very easy, and there's many different root barks and parts of plants that have a high DMT yield. Like a 1% of the plant is extractable to DMT or whatnot, which is too advanced for this video. But um, I knew something was up. I didn't think this was a thing. It would be more similar to ayahuasca. Is DMT derivative. All it is the DMT, if you eat it, it's not active normally. It has to have a MOAH inhibitor, basically, so your stomach doesn't just destroy it. You gotta eat something, in this case drink it with ayahuasca, like the mystical drink that a lot of natives use, and that prevents your body from breaking down the DMT, and then it's like an 8-hour trip, but it's spread out. And if you take an ayahuasca trip, which is like 6 to 8 hours, and you compress that into 15 minutes, full compression. I mean, think of a sine wave, like wave. You compress it, and it's like, woo! It's that intense. It's insane. It really is like a sanity-breaking thing. But you always come back, and you always come back happy for the most part. There are bad trips, but I don't even like putting that idea in people's heads. You can read about it all you want, but don't overindulge. It's a happy thing. The happy trip rating would be like 99% of the time, and the 1% generally is like a healing thing. You learn from it. Lots. So, with that said, we chew this DMT, and it was chewable because of that experience I had in real life, but I knew in the back of my mind, wait a minute, why is this happening? I should be falling over pretty much if I were to have just chewed the equivalent of a smokable DMT dosage, because you really do, you just kind of fade out. Like, you're not dead or you're not really sleeping, but you do like lose consciousness a little bit of your physical body, but your mind never has a period of being detached other than being detached from your body. It's super almost spiritual. It's very, very weird. I'm not a religious person. I've been delving into Buddhism a little bit, but that's more of a way of life, and that's why I gave it a chance. But yeah, so his girlfriend Ali shows up, and she's like chill with it all of a sudden. He talks to her, and she's chill. So all the guys and girls, there's a lot of us, just mingle out into the main room. Now I go outside, and I meet up with this neighbor, the neighbor directly, next to us, and he's super chill. He's smoking a joint, actually. I see him. That's why I could go over and talk to him. Yes, since a Pride one, I do miss smoking weed a lot, if you can't tell. It's in all of my dreams. Every night, consistently, I dream about weed now. Maybe every time I think about weed, I should do a reality check. Could you just do one? You should. Doesn't have to be long, just has to be effective. I'm pretty sure I'm not dreaming about my dream recall, though that would be cool. It does happen. So, where were we? Yes, everyone's back. I go outside, I meet the old man with the joint, and we go for a walk. Now, we go on a walk, we go over this little bridge, there's a river flowing, and going up to the bridge, there's all of a sudden a house on the side, and he goes up to the door, and there's some music playing, and he just spits out a rap. Like, he's good. Like, I like to rap in my free time, so that's definitely where this comes in, and I was just like, damn, what? How did he do that? Like, it's amazing in a dream how you can do some kind of musical performance that is not short and sweet, like you're gonna freestyle. You come up with some creative idea and then you get writer's block. There's no writer's block. The block is just being written forever. So he goes off hardcore and then just continues walking, all peaceful and such, and so I follow him. And now I'm picturing kind of as a leader, though I don't know if I really did have that impression. I didn't write it down, but I had so much to write down that I was running out of time, and I wake up 2 hours earlier than I need to be to work just to write down stuff and eat breakfast and such. But yeah, super cool. Now on the way back, we like turn around at some point, walk back. He does the same thing at the door, and at that point, I question my lucidity again. So first was with the DMT, because I knew this is not right. And yet for some reason, I haven't been making the connection in my dreams to do a reality check when I question reality. That would have been a lucid dream, and an epic one by the following, I imagine. Second time, right there at the door with the old man. He starts rapping, and I actually gave rapping a go. I don't remember what I said, but I think it was pretty cool. if I were lucid, it would have been much cooler because you could be in a lucid dream and kind of tell yourself, I want to do this, and then do it. And then this is kind of the art of mindfulness, is observing yourself without changing what you're doing. So you give yourself the intention, and your body, you just let your mind do it. And it's kind of cool to play passenger in your own dream lucidly. It's kind of it is a skill. It's not easy to do. So there we are. We walk all the way back, and right as we're walking up to the crowd, everyone's kind of outside. We're not tripping yet. I should have mentioned a while back. With DMT, it's immediate. Like as you inhale, my first time, I just continued inhaling, and that's how it detached from my body, so to speak. This is how my trip progressed. It was amazing. It's like an endless breath of happiness. But it's not really a euphoric drug that like MDMA or something where you just won't feel sad. It's just a psychedelic. It's like a mind-altering substance. It expands your mind in every direction: happiness, anger, sad, you know. But yeah, I don't mean to be such an advocate for drugs, but at the same time, I kind of am. Do your research. That's all I say. Do your homework. Know what you're doing. Do it safely. Don't hurt yourself. Don't hurt anybody else. Back to the dream. So we're walking up to the crowd, and another neighbor comes out, and he's like, "You guys need to go now." And I could tell he meant the police. Like in the back of my mind, I just knew that's what this is about. It's drugs. It's my next. I always have that fear, and it just took over the dream, which wasn't atypical. As soon as he says that, two ambulances are just like flying down. I get like a helicopter kind of perspective. I see him on the road coming towards us. Kids start to scatter. I went to look for my best friend, but before I knew it, I just kind of like teleported to my Yukon. I drive a Yukon. I'm in the driver's seat of my car, and I'm fucking flying. Actually, just before this, I did ask my best friend Zach in this dream. And Shamu, if you're out there, I got another best friend named Shamu. They're like equals just about, but it's hard to say they're equals because they're such different parts of my life. You're both very important to me. There you go. Disclaimer. But Zach, we'll just continue calling them both my best friends for the sake of life. And where was I? Oh yeah, ask him, you feeling it yet? And he says, yep, right as I'm leaving. So I run, I get in my car, and I don't remember that part, actually running or starting my vehicle or any of my motor functions, up until suddenly I'm on like a long bridge, like, and I'm at the base of it. I'm in my car. It's a one-way, and this thing's like swerving all over, and it's a golf course too. I'm driving on the greens, and so are the cars in front of me, and I'm just like, oh my god, I can't do this. The ambulances are flying by. I know cops are around, so I'm like foot to the floor, you know. And again, in this moment, I thought to myself, this isn't like me. I don't drive under the influence of things, especially not from cops. Like, that's just a no-go for me. I know that's not going to end well. I'll run first. So, again, I should have done a reality check, but I didn't because I was caught up in the moment there. Now, I crash. I crashed off the edge of this bridge, and I don't remember the crash very vividly, but I do think I remembered it happening. I have a weird, like, vague memory of crashing. Crash into a body of water that it's not very deep. It's like, I guess, knee to chest high. I'd say chest high at its deepest point where I crash. Next thing you know, I teleport to the street. It's dark out now. It was sunny before. It's dark out. I'm looking around. I'm scared. I'm tripping still. Everything's morphing shapes. Colors are becoming vivid, going away, etc., etc. And then what happens next? Oh, gas station. I stumble into this gas station, and it was a lucky 7. I worked at one of those once. And I'm trying to figure out how to ask for help. Now I'm just like staring at everyone, taking it all in. I've been in this situation before, not on DMT, because obviously you're like you're unconscious in the real world drug, but we'll just keep calling this drug DMT in my dream because that's what I thought I was taking. Uh, so I'm tripping in this gas station, and people are like offering me help. I didn't have a phone. Another moment where I challenged my lucidity. I actually had a phone. I pulled it out. It was soaking wet from the water, and I thought it was strange that it just turned right on like it was normal. And then for some reason I didn't use it. I put that thing right back in my pocket and looked around because I didn't think I had a phone. Like I needed help, but I couldn't call anybody. Though the phone that I pulled out, I don't have calling on. So I guess that kind of makes sense why I didn't just call someone. But in a dream, I could have just called someone and everything would have changed. Long story short, in the gas station, a couple awkward interactions and me just stumbling around. The lady behind the counter helps me out, and I don't know what she did, but all of a sudden, boom! My best friend Zach, his girlfriend, myself, and that fat guy from earlier are all just with me, and I get in a car. It's like a nice old car, and Zach's like, alright, let's go home. This is enough. Like, this was wild. What are we doing? But I said, dude, my car is in the lake somewhere. Like, we gotta find my car. He's like, no. Are you stupid? Like, we're still tripping. We can't just drive around, just go willy-nilly looking for a car in a lake. And I was like, you sir, letting me down. I was actually really disappointed, and he was super against my idea, but that happens, you know, best friends don't always agree with you. Maybe it's more. I like to look into my dreams too deep though, so we'll just keep going with the story. And then his girlfriend actually convinced him to let us go. She was like, you know, we should probably find his car, otherwise we're never gonna find it. They'll have evidence, maybe. I was thinking, I don't know, that's what I would think in real life, I guess. So we're driving, we go over a bridge, and everything kind of looks normal at this point. I'm not tripping very much anymore, if I am at all. And I see steam like bellowing up off the side of the bridge, and I'm like, that's got to be it. You know, my vehicle overheated when it crashed, and the water is creating steam. So sure enough, we teleport down, and we're in the water, which is strange. 15 minutes. All right, let's keep this under 20. Almost to the end, I promise. We're in the water already, super strange, and then I see a Yukon with steam bellowing out of it, but instead of being upright like I thought it was just normal, like a normal kind of upright. I was thinking like two wheels straight up and down, like I crashed it. It was normal, and I was like, there it is. And I sat there and I looked at it. Another moment where I should have done a reality check is its tires were tractor tires. Like, I'm talking they were bigger than the vehicle, because I live near some mines, and vehicles like that are not that uncommon, but these were tractor tires. They were like huge, round, funny green, you know, take me for a ride in your big green tractor kind of thing. So I was like, you know, I really think that's my vehicle. Everything lines up. I crashed off a bridge. I'm on a bridge, and I found a vehicle that crashed and is bellowing smoke like I thought mine would be, but those wheels aren't mine. It's probably just some farmer. Let's go. I don't know why I didn't snap into lucidity there. It was obviously my vehicle, but I just didn't want to take someone else's, you know? I guess I would have been helping him out if I thought about it that way, but I was thinking about my own problems at the moment. So I'm like on the opposite side of the lake now, and I'm climbing up this log. So here my hand is the ground. The log is like this, and I have to like climb up it. It's not a big log, maybe 8 feet long, but I like shimmy up it. And right as I get to the top and I'm about to get on the ground, I notice a spider web in front of me. I don't have a problem with spiders. I was about to say I don't like them, but you know, I kind of don't like them. I don't like when they're on me. I don't like when they bite me. Spiders not always fun. So these suckers are everywhere. Like, I couldn't go through here. I couldn't get through. There were so many spider webs. I knew that if I tried, it was gonna be like Lord of the Rings, and I'd be stuck in those webs and I'd get eaten. So I get like a panic feeling. I'm scared for a second. My dream almost goes to nightmare stage. I look to my left, and there's just a wall of spiders in that spider web. Like, I am in a little tunnel of spider web, and I'm not touching them yet. Look to my right, same thing. I shimmy down, and then I notice they're on me. So I don't know why this didn't go full nightmare mode. I guess I was able to control my fears, as I haven't had a nightmare in a long time. Hear that? That's me knocking on wood. But I think that's because my dream abilities kind of like increased from childhood, where I used to have frequent nightmares, kind of frequent, if that's a term. Where were we? Spiders? Yeah, they're on me. They bite me. I look over my shoulder, and I definitely get an angle like I normally couldn't do with my own two eyes in the waking world, so should have done a reality check there, because I could see way too much of my back. I don't think I can see my spine, but I could see my spine, and I could see two little bloody marks all down my back. I couldn't see the spiders on me, thankfully. That would have been a nightmare. But I could tell I was bit, so I shimmy all the way back down, and I think to myself, I've been bit several times by some scary ass looking spiders. I could die. I need to be able to identify the spider when I get to the hospital. I shimmy back up this log like a brave freaking guy, that I would probably not do this in real life, to be honest. I get a second look at those spiders, because I need to know what they are, and I might not be able to tell them, but I got a good visual look, and this is super interesting to me, because if we go to our journal here, I mean, I can picture these spiders as if I had seen them with my own real eyes several times, like they are a memory now. I drew a picture, oh, infinitesimally small. You see that little spider there? Just picture like a black widow kind of, but instead of a red hourglass, it was the same black body. It had two red racing stripes, and they were kind of like this, like kind of going away from each other on the body. Super cool looking. They were actually kind of fascinating as much as they were scary, and I think it's like my recent interest in spiders as a creature that have killed my fear, and the reason I didn't just have a panic attack and wake up hyperventilating right there. Next. So we go down the log. I tell my friends, okay, there's a bunch of spiders. I think I might even mention the hospital thing, or maybe that was just a thought, but I definitely did that double take, and it was really like surreal, very vivid. Next, I just go to the left of the log, and I climb myself up over onto the ground. I'm like, why did I even go up that log to begin with? and all my buddies are following me. And next thing you know, I kind of teleport forward a little bit. We're on the middle of a train track bridge. So here's me and my buddies. Here's the bridge above, like just an infinitely downward expanse of death, like a pit. I wasn't afraid of heights. What I was afraid of is the train that was all of a sudden coming. So we're all just making our way across the middle of this train tracks, and there's a train coming. I know we're not going to make it to the other side. Excuse me. And at this point, I knew we had two options: die or fall. And so I look down, I'm like, well, we're guaranteed death if we stand. If we jump or something, maybe we can catch on. Just so happens there's another track running underneath, so like, here's us. There's one going down here, kind of, that we could jump down to. So I'm like, alright everyone, come on, last second. We're like, we gotta go now. We jump down, I land on the railroad tracks. This is super surreal. Train goes by overhead. Now this next part is a bit of a blur. I don't know how we end up doing what we do, but I imagine another train starts coming on the track we're on. Now above me, there's a train coming, there's nowhere to go here. I'm still in the middle of this expanse. I go down again. And I think this continuously happens like a loop in a trip, if you ever looped in a trip. I'll just keep going down and down and down. My friends are following me, and we kind of flash forward again a little bit, and I am at the bottom. There's like rock ground underneath me, bottom of the pit, kind of, so to speak. There's huge openings into the like earthen walls around me, stone walls, so to speak. There's a lot of red crumbly dust and like dirt and stuff. Huge openings and rail carts and rail tracks going in there, and there's mine carts here. It's very clearly a coal mine, if I remember right. And I kind of get afraid here. I'm like, how can I get out of here? This is it. But at this point, it's like my lucid mind kind of took over a little bit. I saw a problem, and then I started thinking of solutions, and it didn't seem weird to my brain that I could make my own solutions to the problem in this wherever I was mentally. So it's almost like I've achieved like the minor levels of lucidity, just not the one that puts you in control, which is kind of the definition of lucidity. It's weird. I don't know how to describe it, but maybe you guys have been in a similar spot where your dream mind is definitely making conscious, or maybe, no, I guess these are subconscious decisions, but they're decision making all the same with or without you as the pilot. So what I do next is I look around and I'm like, we're gonna have to jump our way back up like an old video game, you know, we got stuck, now we better go up. And everyone's along with me. I guess the fact I wasn't as big of a part of this as I thought. I just very clearly remember seeing him everywhere in this dream with us, like he was just tagging along. I wish I knew who it was. Generic man. Man, no generic girl this time. Someone just sneezed. I'm expecting my girlfriend. I don't want to run this too late. We're already at 21 minutes. Crazy. I don't know how you guys sit through all this. Thank you if you do. Let's see, we're at the bottom. Yeah, so if you've ever been to Disney World or Universal Studios, one of the two, there's a ride called Space Mountain. So I pictured the rail cart. I saw these one rail carts with an automated system that was dumping coal into them, and then they'd shoot off. And I was like, that is clearly going up somewhere. This coal has to be processed. I hope that I like pictured our own death with like things stamping down into the rail carts and squishing us automated. No one would say no, but I knew that was our only chance, so I hop in this, and this is where I wake up. But when I hop in, there's like controls, like a spaceship all over, and it was like I was hopping into the roller coaster Space Mountain. I was pretty confident that I was about to blast off to the surface world and be okay with my friends. Now I woke up here. It would have been super cool if my dream finished with me like going back to bed in this world, because that was like a whole day. I had such a long dream. And about time, I read in a forum, we don't really have time for this rant, but you may think you could dream forever, and sometimes I talk about that, but really, your time is like one-to-one. There's some lucid dreaming experts that can lucid dream on demand, and if you're familiar with how lucid dreaming was proven, it's that they memorized a set of eye movements prior to going to sleep, became lucid, and did those eye movements with researchers watching to prove, okay, I can do any given task that you give me. And there's some connection between physical and mind where they were able to control their physical waking body lucidly in a dream. Very cool. But they also found that the time it took to do things and for them to react was similar, a one-to-one ratio with the waking world. But your perception of time can be changed. And so then you might argue that perception is as real as reality gets, and that's a whole deep psychological, philosophical problem. Not problem, conversation we'll have one day, but not today. Alright, I gotta record the second video, the ones from last night. Not nearly as cool recall, but yeah, have a good night. Or, well, I guess I'll tell you good night in the next one, so please watch my next video for an adequately given, sincere good night and lucid dreaming. But anyways, lucid dreaming. Have a good night. Bye.